Sarah Harless and Kayla William have some personal conflicts that just arose today, so they're not going to be here. And we don't have a vice chair because the previous vice chair was Mary Kay, and she's obviously not on the commission anymore. So I'll volunteer to, I guess, run this meeting since there's no elected officials on the commission right now. Is that
Yeah, I think that works perfectly.
all right?
I just need someone to take minutes as well, if someone's willing to do that.
So if someone wants to volunteer to take minutes for today.
I can do that.
All right, so we could start with call to order then. Lucas Richardson is here, Jeff Stallings, Andrew.
Here.
Kathy.
Here.
Liz.
Here.
Sarah and Kayla are absent. Public comment on agenda-related items. No public comment. Approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All right. Approval of the meeting minutes from the March 6th meeting. I don't recall seeing those. Did those go out, or maybe I just didn't get the?
I double checked my email before coming to this, and I didn't see any minutes that had gone out.
I remember seeing them actually.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that I didn't overlook them.
So we'll have to make a note to get those minutes out and get those approved the next meeting.
Yep. Yeah, I just checked again. I don't see any on there either. All right. Skipping to unfinished business. It looks like we had just an update on the spring cleanup from Kayla, which she's not here today, but I think there hasn't been a
She sent
change.
out an email on that, I think, didn't she?
There's a flyer that's been published. It has all the members, had a copy of the flyer. We've asked our code enforcement officer and other people to help distribute that when they go about their business. We'll have one posted down at the police department, put on Facebook. I'll try to plug as best I can on the radio and the public forums that I talk at. So we'll just kind of make sure we're out there. What I would ask is, and again, you know, the question that was posed to me is, what if someone has junk but is physically unable to haul it? I mean, what does that look like? Is this something this commission wants to get involved in, or should we see how it goes? It's a reasonable question, I think, one that came up last year and came up again this year.
I know we've definitely talked about it over the last couple meetings again, but I don't know if there's been any more conversation outside of these meetings. I mean, unless anybody else.
So a different disposal company is willing to work with people who need help with that sort of thing or are low income, and that's Wheelie Bins USA, the pink bins, if you've seen them. But I've talked to them in the past about different things, and they know that there is a need in the community. And they've said before that if there's somebody who's low income, or people who can't, if they're disabled, or if there's like, they did a house last summer, it was like the mom was hoarder and she had passed away, so they had gotten the house. So they actually went in and physically cleaned the house out for that person for a cost. So that's a possibility, but I don't know if it's I mean, can you give their card out if we're using Republic? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know, but maybe, at bare minimum, it sounds like we've identified an exterior resource for citizens to use.
Right.
I don't know if Republic would do that level of service, so maybe it might be something different, so.
I think too, even if Republic is doing it, I don't think it's like an issue if we were handing out cards that were offering a different service.
Okay.
Especially with like the scope of business that Republic operates at. I feel like if it's like a smaller mom and pop, like junk moving company, they're not gonna get
Right.
too many feathers ruffled. But
Yeah.
Well, and I think a problem though too is that we can hand out cards and tell people, but the people that are gonna be there aren't gonna be the people that we're talking about. Right?
Right.
We're talking about the people who may or may not know about the event but can't get their stuff there. So how do we let them know? So maybe it's worth it to.
I mean, I can get a stack of cards. Would it be helpful if I got those and dropped them off to like Jerry or anybody to hand out?
Yeah, I don't see harm in it.
Okay.
Again, part of this group is identifying you know, recommending resources to help beautify. I mean, that kind of fits what Andrew was saying. It's a little different scope. It sounds like the services business provides than a Republic, so.
Just what was the name of that business?
It's called Wheelie Bins USA.
Wheelie?
Mm-hmm. And they're the pink dumpsters that you've seen around town.
Wheelie Bins USA?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, and I don't know if maybe, since we're gonna be kind of promoting the, spring cleanup day a lot more, since it's less than a month away, maybe it's worth it to put something like that on Facebook or something, right? Like,
I just
we're having
didn't
the-
wanna, I didn't know if it would be a conflict of interest with.
Yeah, I understand
Well,
your
we could
point.
say,
I
we could
understand
say
your point.
both Republic or Wheelie Bins, right? I mean,
I'm not sure, do we have like a
Or,
contract?
or maybe
with
it's
it?
even, maybe the notice is saying, contact someone from the NRBC to, if you need help with transferring.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the best way to, if you need help, give us a shout and we'll
We could try to.
figure
help.
out what the resources we have to,
Yeah.
and sometimes maybe we can't help you, but at least I think it's probably the best way to go.
Yeah.
But it's a great event. It sounds like it went well last year, and so,
Last
Yeah.
year.
okay.
So maybe that's worth making sure that Kayla knows, since she's kind of organizing that, and, you know, if we want to promote something, since we obviously haven't planned
Right.
to resolve that issue. Okay. And I don't know any more on I mean, I'm assuming this May 3rd date is still right, and it's located at the Armory.
I believe that one is, but the other date changed,
Okay.
but I
What
don't
are
know
the,
what the
what
date
are
is.
the hours on that?
Last year we started at like 8,
Yeah,
didn't
I think
we?
it was like 8 to 2 or something like
I
that
think so.
last year. I don't, my notes from the last meeting, I don't have a time. The pamphlet that
You know, the flyer is sitting on the printer in my office, so,
Nice.
what I have here is, May 3rd from 8 to 12 is what I have. Residents can dispose of paint and bulk items Saturday, May 3rd, and from 8 to 12 at the Armory Youth Building.
Probably want to also promote, you know, seeing if there's any volunteers that want to come help unload that kind of stuff. You know, we had a good group of us there, but, you know,
Could use
DPW
more
did a lot of the work,
Excuse me.
definitely.
How do you think that could be accomplished between now and then? What's the best way to get that
I
accomplished?
think, you know, just sending out an email to our volunteer list is probably, and then maybe post it on Facebook with that same post. Here's the spring cleanup day. If you know, want to volunteer, contact the NRBC, and then also have a line on there for the, if you have a trouble to get to the bulk items to the event, all in one post.
It might be a little bit easier this year too. I know, part of the time spent last year was bouncing the tires up into the truck.
Yeah,
So with us
that's
not
true.
having the tires on top of it, it might be a little smoother.
That's true.
But I'm a
But-
pro at
But we
doing
had,
that.
I think it was like over 100 people that came to that.
Oh, yeah.
Because we gave away all those seeds, you know?
Mhm.
But I mean, now that event was kind of like our first kickoff, I would hope that that's gonna get
Bigger and bigger, yeah.
So there might be more people that are gonna show up, which is good, but also means that we probably need more help.
Right.
Are we giving away the seeds again? I think we talked about that.
I think we talked about that too,
We're
but
gonna do that in the bags. We did like a lawn bag and a pack of
Yeah.
seeds last year, which
That's
was pretty
neat.
cool.
Yeah. Does Kayla get that stuff then?
I
or,
think that's, yeah.
You know, out of our
Kayla's
budget?
doing that.
We have a box of seeds in the PD, so the principals of text tell me it's probably for this event. It's just a matter of who's gonna be there from this group and whoever. And so,
Okay.
just a reminder, we have safety glasses, gloves, and vests if someone wants to volunteer time, if we feel it's needed.
Yeah, you're gonna want gloves.
Yeah.
Do we have an ongoing list of like current volunteers? Because
We
like,
do.
obviously
Yeah,
I will be there.
yeah. Well, I wouldn't say like people that are committed right now,
Yeah.
but we have a list of people who have committed to receiving like our emails.
Yeah, yeah. But I didn't know if we had a
Someone's got to
committee.
champion that.
Okay, I didn't know if we had a committed list though, quite yet. so,
No,
Okay.
no,
Who has the list? I need to add
that's
myself
all with
to
Mary. Mary's got.
Hi, Mary?
that. Yes,
Okay.
Mary's got the spreadsheet.
And she's on vacation for 2 weeks, just FYI, so.
Okay,
Where is she?
might have to.
On
Summer
vacation?
form.
Oh, good for Mary.
Yeah, we might want to get with Mary right when she comes back then.
Let's fine tune some details, as long as there's some fine tuning.
Yeah.
Andrew, you said you plan on being there?
Yeah, I'd be there.
We know we have one person there, so we just kind of between now and then communicate and fine tune some things. Our volunteer list could use some bolstering and probably breathe some life into if we can. Just my recommendation.
We were both there last year for the whole thing. And, we'd be happy to be there.
Who brought donuts last year?
On it.
All right. I don't have an update for Kids Safety Days, or do you?
Kids Safety is, I just sent the email out today. It's Saturday, June 7th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We had rescheduled, but that's the date and time. It's going to be at the Manistee Middle School parking lot again. And so I will anticipate having a booth for NRBC. That was a big hit last year.
Oh, I think they got
Kayla and
something.
Sarah were there. They gave out, I think, seeds and plant pot. It was a big hit. It's a great community outreach project for them. I mean, it's a big event that we put on. It's 400 people a year show up there, plus all the public safety people. So
What's the new date? Did you say?
June 7th,
June 7th.
Saturday, June 7th,
What was that time to do?
10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Let me double check that so I'm not speaking incorrectly. Yeah, and so what I'll do is we're just finalizing the flyer, and I'll send the flyer out, same kind of thing, talk about it on the radio. I usually don't shut up about it because it's a pretty big event for us. We're very proud to have it. So, good opportunity for this group. Good opportunity for a volunteer recruiting event as well. To maybe potentially recruit some volunteers. So, I'm gonna have we'll have all the law enforcement, police, fire, helicopters are coming in. But I'll have a booth for NRBC. I'm also gonna have a booth for city council in case city council wants to come and interact with the public. So, just a great way to get in front of a lot of people. So.
That's at the First Street Boat Launch parking lot, is that?
Manistee Middle High School parking lot,
Oh,
right next to the football field.
What are the guidelines for a volunteer? Do you have to be a certain age without getting?
We
a
have those in our
haircut?
form. I believe we set it at 18 at recommendation of the city attorney.
yep.
And so what I would recommend is just have people, have a stack of forms there in case someone, that sounds great, and then sign you up and get you in the email chain and see what we can do.
Mm-hmm.
And Safety Pup will be there, in case you're asking. He will be there, so he is a big hit, so.
Will you be passing out stuff too?
Yeah, we're passing out pillows with Safety Pup's face on them, so, we'll go off on a tangent a little bit, but, so the police department belongs to National Child Safety Council, and they provide us with a litany of safety materials. And on all the safety materials, I mean, anything from body safety, drug safety, water safety, bike safety, all of it has Safety Pup. He's the mask guy, his face is on all of it, or their face, I don't know. And so last year I got the costume, and I underestimated how big of a hit it would be with the young kids. They absolutely love it. So we try to have it at parades. It's just a great way for us to have a positive interaction with our younger generation. So they see the Safety Pup's face, and they hopefully correlate it to positive law enforcement. Also, hey, Safety Pup literature. So this year I'm getting like little pillows. The kids love the pillows, and so we get a number of different items.
Safety Pup.
The Coast Guard tried to convince me to have Safety Pup lowered down from a helicopter. I said, I don't know.
I love
I
that.
don't know, my comfort zone's quite there yet.
Are you safe
Parachute.
then?
No, I am not Safety Pup.
He was just worried about the
He's
safety
safety.
of one of his officers.
Safety dog.
It might have been a risk management decision there. truth be told,
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll be safety pup this year if I get dropped off from a helicopter.
we've had we've had a variety of safety pups, but truth be told, the people who are more frequently safety pup are the U.S. Coast Guard officers.
Nice.
They love it. They've come to the schools. More often than not, that's who Safety Pup is. Except for Shop of the Hometown Hero when Safety Pup was 6'6". That was Doug Van Sickle's college football son. And so Safety Pup. So anyways, if you have any questions or if you think maybe a group should be there, just reach out to me. We like the more the merrier. The only thing we ask for Kids Safety Day is you don't sell anything and you provide some type of safety information or just positive interaction with kids.
Okay.
First.
So, I guess moving on. So I guess I have a little bit of a banner update. We did get response back. We didn't get the quote yet. And I responded today actually to the locations of all the polls from the last meeting. And, you know, we allocated up to $5,000 of our budget from the last meeting to go to more banners. I don't know if that's gonna be all used, but we'll see. So I'm gonna continue to work on that banner project even after my term's ended if I have to, just to help out. I mean, I don't want something to be half done. And I guess that's pretty much the update there. Still waiting for consumers to kind of get back to us. They respond every few weeks with one more question, and I'm sure they got a lot going on right now with all of the stuff going on up north, yeah. So that's,
That doesn't include what we spent on the ones we received already?
the ones we've received already were in last fiscal year budget and already paid for, so that's not,
What was that amount? Do you recall?
actually, I have that right here. That was 5,000.
And so you bring up a good point, just to remind this group that right now, we have $4,500 budgeted for the NRBC, and then we have a separate $1,000 budgeted for NRBC volunteers. So essentially $5,500 budgeted. July 1, that goes away. If we don't spend those funds, we will be in the next fiscal year. We're July fiscal budget. So, and the amount that is being requested for the NRBC and next year's budget is not $5,500, it's $2,500. So just so everyone's clear of that.
So what you're saying is definitely get it done this year.
If we can, you know, we don't want to just do it to do it, but if we can, it sounds like the group has agreed on this project.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have 25 banners, hopefully, if it fits within that $5,000,
Yeah.
so that'll be a good rollout project, and then maybe once people see that, maybe then the
What?
city will wanna keep,
Well, I think you
adding
bring up a
funds.
good point about tangible things. So,
Yes.
you know, one of the things I say is, you know, as a chief of police, no one can see crime that's deterred. You can't see it. Oh, we deterred a crime, you don't see that. But you can see tangible things. So, you know, you can see the banner. What is that? Who did that? The city? Oh, NRBC? When you can see tangible things, it helps build a little bit of buzz. Sometimes services, you know, you don't see the fire department and the great job they did on an ambulance call. You don't see that, but you can see tangible things. And we notice it for like the DPW when the grass is cut, things look, it was tangible. People see that. So just understanding that, you know, we get the banners up, it might create a buzz, and it might be maybe create a buzz for NRBC. You know, we need something. This group probably needs something real tangible to start rallying behind, I think. People they see the sidewalks and that stuff, but that goes away quickly, right? It's like, so just my 2 cents, but I think we're tracking the right direction.
agreed. All right, I guess to go along with the budget update there, so I mean, if we do use the 5,000 for the banners, leaves $500 for, I think we talked about in the last meeting, you know, any purchases that are needed for those 2 events that we had planned, the spring cleanup and the safety day stuff. So I guess moving on to the US 31 corridor beautification. I think it would be good for, just like how Kayla's doing the spring cleanup, and I don't know who is kind of chairing or being the champion for the Kids Safety Day, if that's someone working with you on that, Chief. But
I'm running the, but what do you mean?
Yeah.
Who's gonna be at the table?
yeah, from the NRBC, yeah.
I made assumptions, but I can connect with them individually.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a table and a tent for you guys. Whoever shows up, shows up. But if they wanna buy something like they did last year, they can just coordinate directly with me.
So I guess to my point though, I was thinking that someone's probably on this commission should probably champion the US 31 tree discussion with the tree commission and try to get that
We did.
implemented.
Andrew and I went to it
That-
last,
Yeah, the
we
last
went to
month
the
it-
last month meeting, so
Okay, awesome.
made a little presentation, didn't have numbers, didn't have, just asked for collaboration, and they were receptive. Of course, the big item's going to be money. And
And then also where to exactly plug in, because a lot of the US 31 corridors kind of go, it's happening, so it's
Yeah.
like the tree commission's also like, well, we don't know our role, so like, we want collaboration with you guys, but we just
Yeah.
don't know how the tree commission fits in with
Yeah,
the US
right.
31. So that's where
Right,
it kind of
exactly.
seemed like, yeah, like we love the
we
participation.
don't have a
and
plan.
collaboration,
Yeah,
but
we
they
have to
did-
get together and come up
Yeah.
with a feasible plan. And it sounded like they might not be getting the grant that they expected for their trees. So the grant money for trees might be drying up, which was a sad thing. That'll affect that corridor. But I think we have to get it, and it'd be time now to work on a plan. So Andrew, you and I should get
Yeah.
together on that.
And is that corridor project being coordinated with the 31 project of?
Well, that's what we're
construction
trying,
on?
that's.
Yes.
So we have all these ideas, we're just trying to figure out and see how they're gonna fit together. Is that pretty
Yes,
accurate?
yeah, and just try to improve it. You know, when you got the road, we have an opportunity when they're changing it, new sidewalks, new everything, that let's make it better and maybe more, I thought one of our plans was a little bit more permanent than planting the flowers every year. We had a hard time getting that
Yeah.
chaired and done, and it was a lot of money spent year after year, so that if we could put trees, and the trees might soften that whole corridor.
I have an ignorant question, but it's completely out of my lane. So you're talking about trees and cost. At what level of development do you plant the tree? Is it a sapling? Is it, I mean, is this a tree commission question? Is it, I mean, are you,
It's a money question. You know.
Yeah, it's gonna cost more and more, the bigger the tree.
the bigger the
grows.
tree, the more money, that's a common sense
So
standard,
I
okay.
think it's a financial question, and we don't have any finances. But MDOT, there's a chance, you know, they
Yeah,
may
well, I guess,
set aside for that.
and, I mean, fortunately, I'm kind of involved in that a little bit with MDOT in the city, but I guess I would probably recommend that you guys, if you're gonna try to come up with a plan or recommendation, I know we have talked about that in the past on this meeting. I think it was like between First and 8th Street or something like that is where we were recommending the trees, and, but you guys might wanna talk to, like, Bill, the city manager, on that stuff, and, you know, just see, hey, how can we
How can we
the
put-
NRBC and the tree commission, you know, work with the city on trying to make sure MDOT implements this, or the city implements it afterward.
And we have to have MDOT's blessing on it to
Yeah.
make it happen.
Yeah, and Jeff
Yeah.
McCool is probably a great resource to tap
Yes.
into.
Yeah,
See
or-
what happens. I know he's been the kind of point of contact with MDOT in facilitating that project, so probably start with Bill and then
Yes.
see when it's the right time to maybe get
Yeah,
conversations going with Jeff McCool as
I
well.
just think it's not gonna, you're gonna wanna talk to, you know, Bill and Jeff before it gets too far along. in the-
We didn't get it.
Because
far.
they are going
This is
through.
just an initial.
Yeah, no, I know, and I think, and now that the tree commission knows that, we're gonna recommend that, and they're on board to helping us, it sounds like, then that's.
And Tree
That's
City
good.
and all that, it ties
Yeah.
in with that. And the one idea I had afterwards was the parks have had memorials, those benches, and and then the chairs at the beach were memorials, and we kind of exceeded, I mean, you can only put so many chairs at a beach. And we kind of are over our surplus of that, and we're pretty close to our surplus on benches. But a tree is a living memorial that lasts hopefully 100 years. And I'm not saying put a little thing on every tree, but somewhere you could have a plaque that, you know, just a thought that maybe we could get people to buy a tree, and then you could get a bigger tree. And like Traverse City has had trees downtown for years, but they buy, whatever they buy, it's like a dwarf tree. It isn't like,
Right,
it doesn't look like our trees that they're
Yeah,
all, kind of cut down and
Yeah,
they're all
I-
ruined.
I know exactly, yeah, I've seen a couple like examples of that where I feel like if a tree's in a mulch bed, it's normally just a little plaque that's staked in the ground at the base, or it's when it has like a grate around the base of the tree on a sidewalk, there's sometimes plaques that are just imprinted on that grate, so I'd be interested in, you know,
And the benches were, I think, 350, and then they went up a bit, so,
And I don't think there's gonna be a whole lot of room, so I think it's gonna be a small tree. It's
Yeah.
not gonna be.
yes.
A
And we
big
want them
tree
to be,
anyway.
remain dwarf trees and probably have a trimming program. I mean, Traverse City's trees have never grown in 35 years. They're still the same size. They've done a good job.
But that might be a financial strategy to fund that project, right, with sponsorship from.
That's
That's
a
a-
memorial
Yeah.
sponsorships, honors, graduating senior, whatever, you know.
and I bet too, I mean, after the initial purchase, I bet from a long-term sustainability standpoint, finding a way to set up a fund at the community foundation of some sort where it's just a generating fund where they're able to maintain
Yes.
it after doing some type of initial endowment campaign. That might be an option too, to partner with the community foundation.
Yeah, it's kind of a parky type.
Oh, yeah, they're all over that. Anything outdoorsy or park sustainability, I feel like they've kind of hopped on
Exactly.
a lot of those.
Yeah, it might be, that might be something to bring up. Just talk to Laura or something about that.
Yeah.
Anything else on, new business, partnering with the Parks Commission for Riverwalk maintenance? I don't know.
So
who
that,
had that added.
yeah, so that came out of probably last meeting's discussion about, well, the last comment I made about having that group approach me about wanting to do structured, just planning and like summer maintenance of the flower beds. Because there was a group of 3 people last year who was just doing that on their own dime. But obviously, you mentioned that this commission can't do that because the Riverwalk's technically a park. So it fit better under the Parks Commission, but I wasn't able to go to the Parks Commission or approach anybody from the Parks Commission over the last month to start those discussions.
Yeah, I think the better thing to maybe talk about is if there's 3 solid volunteers that would like to do that, get them on the volunteer list and tell them that we have the volunteer list for
Yeah.
the community. You know, it's not for NRBC stuff, so I mean, if they
Yeah.
wanna get help, you know, we can certainly help
Yeah.
with them getting more volunteers.
And having been here since the beginning of this, the intent behind parks versus NRBC is a matter of authority. I don't think there's anything wrong if the parks approaches NRBC, hey, you want to collaborate on this thing?
Yeah,
It's a matter of the NRBC going, well, we're going to do this in the parks, whether you like it, or the parks going, well, we're going to go do this trash pickup, whether you like it or not. That was the intent behind that.
Okay.
To make sure, I'm hearing that we're collaborating with the Tree Commission, which is wonderful. Collaboration, with the Parks Commission is wonderful.
exactly.
The parks have been doing this thing for a long time as far as volunteers and, yeah, I think there's a possibility to thrive in that environment where we're collaborating. It's just a matter of going, this is ours, hey, I'll help you here, we'll help you. It's hard enough to get people to volunteer their time. I think we talked about the other night. It just is. And so it's very special when people are willing to volunteer their time, and those people should be recognized and awarded. So we got to pool our resources together. The key is just making sure that it's approached the right way. Say, hey, or the parks approaches us, it has to be approached the right way.
I feel like there should be like like an annual event or something where if every chair of all the commissions.
I agree with that. I'm not even sure just the chairs.
Yeah.
I think we'll put an event that everybody met everybody because it's an amazing group, every commission.
And everybody's volunteering for the same goal.
Exactly. Have it like at the Ramsdale and have a nice 2-hour event that you just mingled and got to know the names to the faces, and that would breathe.
Well, and there's probably a lot of times where you're walking right next to someone, you don't even
Exactly.
know that they're also
Yes.
on a different commission. It's like.
Yeah, and everybody has the same goal.
Some type
at
of
the end the
social
day.
event.
A social event, not a
Yeah.
speaker, not just that you a mixer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. Coming from a government employee, we're good at operating in silos sometimes. And so saying, hey, we were talking about this, or just getting to know people. You know what? If I need that, you're the person I call. I didn't know that was your background. And, you know, part of my job is, I don't have all the answers, and so I have a file. Okay, who would know about this? Let me call Lucas. I don't know anything about MDOT. Let me call Lucas.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of value. I think something like that could be put together very quickly. It could be a social event, just,
And I would invite everybody that's currently on a commission or, because there's not that many,
Yeah.
there's,
No, I agree.
I think you
that's
do
a
a
good
pretty
idea.
low budget where it's not even
I
like you
think
have to
low
pay for it.
budget.
I think you could just say, hey, we're meeting at the Outsider. and
It could be
you're gonna
that
pay-
simple.
You're gonna pay for your own drink.
Exactly.
let's have some fun.
It's
I
gonna
love
be
that.
5:30.
yeah.
This Friday?
How would that work
Going?
for, how would that work for the Open Meetings Act? I mean.
You can't discuss, you wouldn't discuss,
Decision-making.
decision-making. This is not,
This is a
this is
meet
not
and
that, this is,
It's like a
hey,
Christmas
Lucas, you're
dinner
the
for
this,
Board
okay,
of
you work
Education
here?
or something.
It's a
You're not-
social event.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
And worst comes to worst, what, you put it on the public, like, you put it out to the public, see how much to the public you get?
Well, I mean, I don't think you'd have any problems, because it's not like we would be going there to talk about
Yeah.
the NRBC things as a group.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not what
It's
we're
a pie.
doing that for anyways.
And if this comes to fruition and maybe NRBC spearheads this, I would get you in writing exactly what the Open Meetings Act says about that, so we can just make sure we're,
In compliance.
yep.
I think it's just the lack of discussion, because it's like taking the tour with the city council on the parks tour. It works, as long as you don't discuss business, and we are not a decision-making body, we're only a recommending. So anything we
It's true.
discuss really is not a decision-making,
Yeah.
it has to be.
Right.
I think we should do that. And our name is Restoration, and that's, that's part of restoration. getting-
Restoring our relationships.
Yes, restoring a community relationship.
There you go. Okay.
So,
Well, I guess one thing to add on that item, I mean, we kind of went all over the place here, but it brings up a good point about this collaboration event that we're talking about is, Liz came onto this commission, and the first thing that she learned from me was like, we have a list of volunteers that we reach out to, and she's like, holy cow, that'd be great. So it's like, having a couple people that Andrew, from this Riverwalk thing, we need to get him a waiver and get him on our list, even if it's, I mean, we gotta use that list, right?
yes.
We gotta use it for this event that's coming up, for the spring cleanup. We gotta use it for whatever, helping out the other commissions if they have events coming up. I mean, that's what we're here for, so.
In keeping in mind, and you know this because you've been here, I think, from the beginning, and so have you, but if you get volunteers and you publicly acknowledge their efforts, you're gonna get more volunteers. If you don't, you won't. Life is that simple.
Yes.
It really is that simple.
Yes.
So, I'm not saying anything that anyone here doesn't know, but, we don't work off of praise, but giving your free time, we all have families, giving your free time is a big deal. The fact that when we were scraping sidewalks and doing whatever we did, that's a big deal.
Yes, it
And
is.
so we need to sometimes we get caught in the mission and we forget to look back and say, well, that was a pretty special deal we did last Saturday. Let's make sure those volunteers are acknowledged and Facebook and whatever it might be, so.
Right. Public comment.
I have a quick update. Next week, I will be posting for an open position for our code enforcement officer. Our code enforcement officer has taken employment elsewhere. So I knew that he probably would have been scooped up based on his background. So I will be posting that, which will leave that position vacated, and we'll see what kind of candidates we get. I'll keep this group updated every month, but
Did he leave the city in a good spot to
He
where
was-
like everything's organized and everything?
yeah, he was great. The fact that he came here, I was surprised they did. He just hit it off well with the police officer, the city, and he loved it. He's not a typical employee. He kind of figured it out and took it to a different level. Usually you talk about a code enforcement officer, you don't get someone who was a previous township administrator and zoning administrator, and they just happen to do this in their retirement. Our wage kept it attractive. but it was a light lift with him, and he just gave me a list. I mean, he's done a tremendous amount of work. The biggest work is just working through the courts. That's the most challenging thing, and people don't realize why is that trash picked up. Well, there's the court process is probably not what most people think it is, and he's been right there with Jerry Blue working through those processes. The bottom line is to clean up blight. It takes money, and so we're very sad to see him go. He did a tremendous amount of work in under a year, and we'll see what candidates we get.
Is that full-time or part-time?
That's a part-time position,
Okay.
and it operates under the police department. It's kind of hit or miss if it's under the building official or police departments for municipalities, but I thought it was important to operate under the police department, so I'll keep this group updated with how that process is going.
We couldn't have offered him like a condo or some tickets to.
Listen, I bought him a tablet. He had some cool police swag, and he's such a great guy. But I just, yeah, when you have a part-time position that doesn't fulfill all the needs that are required, and so I was happy to have him. I didn't think I could hang on to him very long, but he's kind of built a foundation through us of this is the program. He's gonna listen. It's painstaking. I mean, we get grumbles from our court all the time about all the tickets that are coming in, and because they don't really have this in this county, and so he's leaving a written procedure, and we have BSNA now that we're doing everything through. So when you do any job from a leadership standpoint, you hope to leave it in a better place than you got it, whether it be a police chief or a part-time. He's accomplished that by far, so we're very appreciative.
Good.
All right, go to the order. Liz, you want to start?
Well, and maybe Andrew, if you were there, that, spring comes and things look worse often, and that gateway is looking so bad. It looks like, it's such a bad gateway to Manistee, and obviously it's not gonna probably start this year, maybe not next year, who knows? But in the meantime, if we could get the fence down and get something, it's ugly. It's a blight.
Has that been brought up at DDA?
Not at
meetings?
not at a DDA level.
Okay.
I know, or I take that back. I think somebody mentioned trying to get what they had originally, the screening for the fence. That was several months ago. Nothing really came of that. And that was the last I heard.
Yeah.
But I know
Sammy's working on
Yeah,
it.
Sammy's thinking the same thing.
Sammy's
where,
thinking
it's
it's ugly.
it's not an attractive
No, it's
site
not.
right now.
And some people never, you see that. Doesn't make you want to turn right and go downtown. It makes you like, you've come through that entrance, the entrance corridor looks a little bit bad too. Quite bad. And then you see that and it's like, well, I'm not going downtown. So I think that
None of that probably classifies as blight, does it?
Based on what I've heard here and what I've seen, it doesn't classify as blight, no. That's a challenge.
Some are like leaned. You like
Yeah.
pick those up.
I think the best way to address that, because I don't know that we have an ordinance authority there, is just with our groups, our city council, city managers, having communications. I don't have any evidence that suggests that this is negligent on their part. I'm sure they're aware of it. But just make sure our voices are heard. Say, hey, can we do something a little better here? They used to have the stuff up, the translucent or opaque stuff up, and
Yeah.
just keep hearing that feedback from our city manager, our elected officials. I think it's important.
And then the other thing was that the bridge, the highway bridge, memorial, that I think the project is basically done. And I'm a little, it's probably not blight, but I thought that the bridge would, I know it was a structural project, but I had hoped that the bridge would look better. Like this, and I'm looking at it probably from a woman's standpoint, the cement doesn't match. We're gonna put a new highway and new roads through there. I thought they were gonna maybe paint it. It's still, that gray is, I just thought that they would make the whole project look a little, and from the water, it does not look too great either. It looks like we did nothing, if you didn't know that the bridge was safer, and I think that they left it no different than when they started, and
It's aesthetic,
Yeah.
is what you're saying.
pardon me?
From an aesthetic.
From aesthetic, I just thought that we would get it looking better when it was done, and maybe nobody else agrees, but other towns, the bridges are painted off and like now they're black or whatever. It's a pretty bridge, and the cement, it's an old iconic bridge, and it's a drawbridge. It's a great structure, but it just is not beautiful. It's ugly.
I wonder if they, I don't know if that's scheduled or not, if that's something that MDOT schedules bridge painting every 10, 20 years. I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah, I would say that probably has something to do with the city probably would have to request that they paint it a certain color, or if they have to pay for the difference or something like that.
Yeah, I didn't know if anybody else, in the cement, I was like, if you were grouting your own project, you would match the grout, I just thought the cement looks like, they just.
I figured that everyone was so happy that stinking bridge was fixed. That no
I
one
think
knew
that's
it
what
is.
they, yeah, like, it's done, it doesn't
Well,
matter, but it
let me,
kind of does. We lost 2 years, so some of those businesses lost 50 to 100,000, and
Yeah.
that I know for a fact. And, they suffered for that, and I thought it's just a little disappointing to see, you see like I said, the corridor, the bridge that
Yeah, I
looks
gotcha.
dilapidated, and then you see the gateway, and it's kind of like, oh, welcome to Manistee.
What I could do, Councilman, I can poke around a little bit and see what I can find out. Let me poke around a little bit.
Yeah, if we
It might not be a great answer, but at least I
You
can
look
kind
at
of pull that through.
Charlevoix Bridge, there's a lot of bridges that you cross going up north or whatever,
Sure.
and ours is not.
That are on MDOT's right away.
Yes, ours is not the equivalent of some of those. Petoskey has bridges, and ours just doesn't look as nice.
Let's get our banners put up, so then you don't look at all that, you look at the banners.
Yeah, our banners on our trees.
To hide everything.
Yeah. That's all.
Anything, Kathy?
So, after this, Kids Safety Day and the pickup, day at the Armory, are we gonna have any other projects after, cause that's just early summer?
Yeah, I think that's up to
You guys.
anybody on the commission.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's so hard because we went, like, in the past, we went a different path.
Yeah, I
And
think,
now we've transitioned, and I'm kinda lost as to, am I supposed to pick
no, I think our, our goals kind of shifted a little bit from being the people that go tackle these things so that way we wouldn't get burned out, to now, hey, let's try to think about this and plan projects, and then, make the project happen with volunteers and not just us.
Yeah.
That's what you gotta think about. I mean, I think we're still here to
Okay.
find opportunities to beautify and restore the neighborhoods. And
Okay, all right.
So if there's an idea, I would definitely bring it up, and,
Okay.
we can
Well, being
collaborate.
the oldest one, yeah, I mean, I don't wanna get, too hard, but I mean, we did make some things look awfully nice.
Yep.
So,
And I think we have some unfinished projects too that hopefully
yeah,
the group wants to try to finish out, like the mural
yeah.
thing, so,
Okay, all right,
yep.
thank you, that's all I have.
Where was the mural project left at? You don't mind me asking, because that's something I'm personally really,
Yeah,
I've been kind of noodling
I can-
murals and.
I know that the city attorney met with me and Bill Gamble to develop a citywide policy on it. Where it's at, I don't know, I can check into it. The question is does this group want to get into the, business of murals, because it's not as cut and dry as you would think it is.
Okay, from like a planning, like city, like, or I guess who is the oversight? Is it like the Historic District Commission
Well,
as well as the
that's one of the
PC?
many questions, right? So it would be the NRBC, and so, okay, so what does that mean? Do you only have murals on public property? Well, you have limited canvases, then how does that work on private property? And how do we expend public funds? Okay, well, it's volunteer. What policies, how are we the arbiter of what's appropriate, not appropriate? So there's a lot of tricky ins and outs there.
And on top of that, the mural project that we did do isn't on public property, it's on private property, but we think it's on private property, but the homeowner gave us permission to paint them. So it's just,
Yeah.
how do we, so we took a step back from trying to finish that out and approached the city attorney, then the city attorney,
Okay.
we switched city attorneys, and then.
Yeah, those
that's
aren't
where
my
we're at
questions,
now.
those are questions that we're like, let's just, murals, sounds great, let's go do it.
Okay.
And then you start identifying issues, go, oh, public versus private, okay, then we don't want that, we want that, now it became a little trickier as you get into it. So-
Yeah, but I know Gaylord has a really robust, like, mural movement, in their downtown, so I'd be interested, and I think it was teed up by their DDA.
I
So I'd be
think our
interested-
historic district has a mural policy,
Yeah, yeah,
so I
But it's
think
only
we're
within
trying to
the-
stay away from that.
yeah.
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 We just got back from a trip out to California, and we were in Hermosa Beach, and they're known for murals. They have a whole mural walk, and they're just like artwork. I mean, they're so professional, and the artists are signing it, and then they do a bio on the artist, and like they're known all over the country as, and I don't know mural artists, so I didn't recognize them, but it was, I mean, it was unbelievable, the quality that they had. I mean, you would go there just to see those.
Yeah.
And they're
One of the-
huge and beautiful, and they.
One of the challenges I think that we're gonna face is if we land on it's public property only, I think we're gonna be pretty limited on canvases. So again, the issue is not dead, it's just, we developed a policy and, it was forwarded to the chair. If it's something we need to keep taking bites of, we can, but it's, when we dug into it, it's a little trickier than we thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, because I know the HDC too, it's like, that's probably where you're gonna have most of your blank canvases, is in the downtown district, where it's like, I'm thinking like the West Shore building with all
Yes.
that exposed
Well,
concrete.
so-
Yeah, but I also think that's probably an area we probably wouldn't want to do murals in downtown. I mean, our downtown's supposed to be a Victorian historic downtown.
Town.
Yeah, well,
Ludington has some neat murals on
Yeah.
those side streets.
It's
On
just-
side streets.
Yeah, but it's
like
it's a,
not like on the
yeah, I mean,
street.
it's a matter of where the canvases are, because in my mind, it's normally exposed concrete that's modern, it's not,
Yep.
you're not doing it on the, old architecture, it's the concrete retaining walls that are going down to the Riverwalk, or like, again, the new West Shore building, where a lot of that parking lot and
So we had
west
a,
facing wall is just a blank canvas.
one of the original members, his wife worked for Grand Rapids, maybe Kendall?
I was just gonna tell you, he sent me
Yes.
the documents last week, I can send them to you if you're
And so
interested.
he had a great visual where he basically took some just
So,
random
I'm not-
and stretched them to fit buildings like TJ's, just
Okay,
random,
yeah.
to give you a visual.
Yeah.
And it was great. There's gonna be challenges probably in the historic, but just to give it, I'm a visual person, I gotta see it. I thought that was pretty cool. So it's not a dead issue, it's just trickier than we initially thought it was gonna be.
It was John McCracken, and he does know, and he knows how to seal them so that they last. I mean, the ones down there have been up for years and years in California.
Yeah, his wife is the president of
Yes.
Kendall.
That's all I have.
Well, I guess just so I can spew out some of the background of all the murals and artwork stuff for you, Andrew, is we did talk about, obviously the mural down on First Street, that was like our primary target. And then we actually mentioned, maybe at some point approaching the owner of Manistee Hotel, now the Econo Lodge.
Yep.
That big long wall, and actually they fixed it up.
Yeah.
And because it was pretty dilapidated and really, falling apart, and but that would be a good one, an opportunity. And then we also mentioned at some point maybe approaching the city to see if they wanted to pursue like a welcome to Manistee or a big Manistee sign in the harbor. So like as you're coming into Manistee as a boat, you see the big retaining wall next to the Riverwalk
Yeah.
there. There's a big nice space for a Manistee sign, and actually I think Spice rendered something for that.
Really? Okay.
But those are the three things that we've talked about in the last 3 years
Okay.
of kind of artwork and mural targets. And then when John was on, he was trying to advocate for some murals downtown too. I think the appetite at that time was stay away from the downtown at least,
Okay.
just because of that historic district has a mural policy in place, and
Yeah, I know it's pretty strict.
we should, this commission should be a little bit more focused on the neighborhood side of it rather than kind of
Okay.
downtown, so. But I just wanted to add that, so
Okay.
you had the history there. I had this big thing here, so. Oh, Jesse, got anything?
I think so. It's my last meeting.
Oh,
You guys are gonna do great. I'll add myself to the volunteer list.
We're gonna miss you.
I don't know. Will you?
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't wait to see everything else that you guys accomplish. It'll be
Yeah.
fun.
Hope you guys take it in a way that you think that it should go and be successful. And it's been an experience building this for 3 years.
Trouble there.
You went over the list so quick I couldn't even get up.
Oh,
I want to tell you about volunteer lists. We were going to do the fire hydrants last year, and we got a hard time by certain supervisors. So I went to Bill and I asked Bill, are we going to get volunteers or not? I mean, somebody's got to make a decision here. And so he was going to check into it to see what it would take to make everybody satisfied with volunteers. And he hasn't gotten back to me, so I'll be asking him again, what did he find out about volunteers? Because I'm not gonna put up with fighting with supervisors threatening us that, well, if we'll file grievances. I said, bring it on, I don't give a damn. But they didn't bring it on, so, they can keep the fire hydrant if they wanna suck on it, but, I'm not gonna play around with it. I wanna know what the volunteer deal is. Either we have them or we don't have them. And so that can help you guys out. Because, you can't keep playing around every time you wanna volunteer something, and then somebody argues that it's gonna interfere with their men working. So, I just thought you should know that before you get into volunteers.
thanks.
Are you gonna follow up with the city manager, or would you like me to on that?
I'm gonna get them.
Okay.
I don't back up.
Let it play. Let's see what happens.
Motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Take that motion.
Okay.
and if we have that little get-together, you two need to come, and then you can choose your other commission.